Alright, so in this video, we are going to be factoring trinomials with a leading coefficient other than 1. Okay, so in our last video, we factored trinomials that in front of the x squared term, the leading coefficient of x squared was just a 1. This time it's not going to be 1s, but we're going to turn it into a coefficient of 1 and factor from there using this method. We're going to slide, divide, slide the denominator. All right, so let's do this. Okay, first of all, you're going to check for the greatest common factor, just like we have been doing. Okay, then we're going to do our S, slide. Slide the A and multiply the A with the C. That's your constant. So it's going to be x squared plus bx plus c times A. All right, then we're going to factor as we normally would when the leading coefficient is 1. Same rules still apply. The sign, excuse me, same sign rules still apply. Then we're going to divide. We're going to divide the constants in each binomial that's factored by the original value of A. Then we're going to reduce. And if the denominator is not a 1, we're going to slide that denominator to be the leading coefficient of that set of parentheses. Okay, and then you can check by finding the product. So let's do this. Let's go to example A. All right. Oh, goodness. Went down too far. Always check for a GCF. No, because we have a 2, a 5, and an 18. So I'm going to slide. I'm going to put an S here, and I'm sliding a 2. So I'm sliding this 2 down here to the 18. So it's going to end up being x squared plus 5x minus 36. Now we have our leading coefficient as a 1. So I'm going to factor it just like we did in the last video. And if you need more review, go back to that last video. Okay, so we want two numbers that multiply to give us 36. And looking at your signs, since that last one is minus, your signs in parentheses are going to be plus and minus. So we want them to multiply to be 36 and subtract to be 5. So I already came up with it, 4 and 9. 4 minus 9 gives me 5. Okay, so that's what we're going to put in our parentheses. Since our middle term is minus, our largest number is going to be 9. And it's going to be positive. Okay, so let me repeat that. Since my middle term is positive, our largest number is going to be positive. So I'm going to go ahead and pull down my x's. I'm going to put my 4 right here. So that was my slide. Now I'm going to divide. And I'm dividing by what I slid. That's why I like to write these over here. So I'm dividing here by 2 and here by 2. And reducing. So I have x plus 9 halves and x minus 2. So I slid and I divided. Now I'm going to slide my denominator. Okay, so the denominator, slide the D. My denominator is going to go in front. So that's going to be 2x plus 9, then x minus 2. And that's your final answer. Be sure you complete all these steps before you end. The final answer is not up here. You've got to keep going. All right, so let's do B. Check for a greatest common factor. Nope. So I'm going to slide, and I'm sliding an 8. So I'm going to slide it down here. So I get x squared minus 2x minus 120. Okay? Since my last sign is minus, my parentheses are going to be plus and minus, because that's the only way I'm going to get a negative answer. So I want to multiply to get 120. And since my signs are opposite, I'm going to subtract to get 2. Okay? So 12 times 10 gives me 120. 12 minus 10 gives me 2. All right? So now remember, if you are not sure, go through and do all the factors. All right? So I'm going to go ahead and put my x's here. And since my middle term is negative, my largest number is going to be minus. Okay, so I slid. Now I need to divide. So I'm going to divide by 8. So I'm going to divide this by 8, divide this by 8, and simplify. So I get x plus 10 over 8 reduces to 5/4. 12 over 8 reduces to 3/2. This time we have 2 fractions, which is okay because we're going to slide. We slid the 8, we divided by 8. Now we're going to slide the denominator. Okay, so I'm going to slide my denominator up front. So I get 4x plus 5, 2x minus 3. And that's your final answer. Okay, remember, if you have any questions, be sure to write them down on your notes so that when we're together or when you're with your teacher, you can definitely ask her. Okay, now for C. Factor out a greatest common factor. Do we have one? All right. Thinking we do. Thinking we could take out at least a -3. And not just a -3, but a -3x. Okay. I'm going to get 6x squared plus 11x minus 10. All right. So now I need to slide, divide, slide. So I'm going to slide my 6 over. So I'm going to slide a 6. Okay, and I'm going to just kind of make that big so I remember that for later. So that's going to end up being x squared plus 11x minus 60. Okay, since that last term is minus, we know our signs are going to be plus and minus. Okay, we want 2 numbers that multiply to give us 60. Since our signs are opposite, it's going to subtract to give me 11. I'm going to say 15 and 4. Okay, if you're not sure about that, go through every single one. 1 and 60, 2 and 30, 3 and 20, 4 and 15. You can do that. It's all right. All right, so when I subtract these, I'm going to get 11. All right, so now look at your original, the problem you just factored. Since your middle term is positive, your largest number is going to be positive. Then I'm going to put my x's. Okay, so I slid. Now I need to divide. So I'm going to divide by 6. Okay, so I'm going to divide each one by 6. Reduce those fractions, and I get x plus 5/2, x minus 2/3. Okay, x plus 5/2, x minus 2/3. So I slid and I divided. Now I'm going to slide. So I'm going to slide my denominator over. Okay, so I get 2x plus 5 and 3x minus 2. Okay, so we just factored x squared, 6x squared plus 11x minus 10. Do not forget to bring down your -3x. All right. Thank you for watching. And remember, if you have any questions, be sure to write them down. Thank you.